All right, let's get started now. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well this fine Saturday morning. Okay, so if you were here with us last week, I went ahead and got started on this character right here, and I'll just kind of hide the body and stuff for right now. This is just a smidge further than we got last week. Right here, where this is at right now. I went ahead and I added the hat and I added the glasses, and I did a little extra sculpting on the hair after stream. But it was like it was like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, over a couple of days after the stream. So this is kind of where we got her to so far. And then I've also gone through and blocked in her body. Okay, so to be able to get kind of like this awkward teenager sort of pose. Okay, so I have a new spotlight image here that I've gone through, and I've kind of done some sketch over, and I'm trying to figure out, I mean, the pose feels too even, feels too symmetrical right now. So this pose is going to have to change a little bit. I'm thinking about taking this wand arm and adjusting how that's going to be, probably like lowering the elbow down into here a little bit and then bringing the hand up with the wand up maybe. Let's see what we do. But that's kind of the basic idea. So what I want to do is I want to start building out, block out her arms, and then I want to go ahead and start putting in her clothing so that it's a little more family friendly. And I brought breakfast. I don't know what time you guys, like what time zone you guys are at. I am Pacific time. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I've had time to be able to shower and do nothing else. So it's so I've got nice everything bagel with me and some sour cream and chives spread. What do you guys eat for breakfast? Get some ASMR bagel crunch in there for you. Not that kind of channel. It's always been kind of one of the interesting things to me. So you guys are evening time, huh? You see 17:05, so that's 5:05, so that's 9. Oh, you're over in England, right? UK somewhere? Sub-zero? I'm going to go ahead and kind of make some adjustments here. Something like that, maybe. 4:05 in the UK, so somewhere further. 9:30 p.m. Wow, in India. Okay, that makes sense. That makes some sense. Yeah, it's always kind of crazy. One of my favorite things about streaming is being able to connect with people from all over the place. Hola España, ¿cómo te va? 3D Dent Studios. Studios. How you doing? Okay, let's go ahead. Let's block in these arms. So I'm going to... I always like to use, like, reuse pieces that I already have. So I'm going to start down here, and I am going to say Control Shift D to be able to duplicate that. And then we'll just bring up one of these pieces. Shoot, I didn't want that. Okay, let's grab this and we will say, let's delete hidden. Okay, now this piece is currently like a lot thicker than what I currently want for this arm. So let's go ahead and kind of solo that out so we can see things a little bit better. It's funny, I must have had my computer on all week because I haven't I haven't touched it, but everything was already open and everything since from the last time. So it's just kind of funny. Yeah, let's kind of shrink it down some. I'll probably lengthen it out because I like that thickness. And then once I make one arm, I'll just mirror and weld so that it's on the other side as well. And then I'll reposition it and make it fit so that it's in the right pose for the other side. So yeah, let's see. This is gonna have to be possibly something like this. Oops, nope, not right there. That's what I want. Okay, something kind of like that maybe. We'll lower it down and in. And I'm going to kind of use this as a guide more for proportions. Quentin! Dude, you enjoying your time off work? Hidrock, thank you so much, my friend. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's just wanted to try to push myself a little bit in a different direction. I usually like to do, in fact, let me see if I can kind of show my desktop. There we go. It's like I usually kind of try to hold to this sort of style. This is more what I like to do, but I also like to push myself and try to figure out different sort of styles, very varying sizes of eyes, and making those work with a character, different teeth shape and different all sorts of different things. So while I do like doing this sort of thing, I want to try to do something very different so that I can get more of a cartoony sort of style too. I really like stylized stuff. It's fun. In fact, little time-saving thing. Thanks, Gwen. A little time-saving thing that I did for this particular character is that I didn't want to go through and remodel the hat from scratch. So I started with her hat, which, I had to do a whole bunch of modifications to make it so that it worked. Like the shape of the brim was wrong, the shape of the top of the hat was wrong. There weren't enough spans in the hat to be able to fit what I needed to do, to make it longer, to hit these sorts of angles and shapes and things. So yeah, I ended up going through and using it as a base, but then twisting and turning it. And it's a very standard practice in the industry is to go through and do things like that. In fact, you know what? I'm going to duplicate this out and make it a neck. Okay, right now it's too thick, and I want to kind of like narrow it down in two directions, in the Z direction and in the X direction. And since I got the Y direction kind of pointing up like this, I'm going to go ahead and hold Alt and hold that green button right there, and it's going to allow me to scale in every direction except for that direction. Okay, it's a super, super useful. So let me see. Oh, let's just say color. Fill object. That way I've got the neck in there so that it's not like she's got this floating head. It's just kind of weird. Oh, guys, okay. So I started reading. Like I recently started, picking up books a little bit more often lately, and um, I like reading. Reading's fun. I like books, and I like to go on a good adventure. And so the book that I picked up recently that I just started reading, per a friend's suggestion, his name's Koji. I used to work with him over at DreamWorks. Um, he loved Ready Player One, and so I started reading it. He hated the movie because it was completely different from the book, and I agree it's completely different from the book, but I like both. Um, I love the book though. It's so much fun. I went ahead and liked it so much when I had borrowed it from the library that I decided I'd buy it and add it to my permanent library. Um, but yeah, I love reading. So that's one that we had fun with. And then we also this past week I finished reading the last Harry Potter book to the kids. For those of you who've been around for a little while, know that I like to. Um, that's something that we had started doing. Gosh, last year I think. I think it was only last year. um, was reading the Harry Potter books, and then after each book we'd watch the movie, and like have Bertie Bott's every flavor beans, and I'd make chocolate frogs and things like that, and just have fun with it, right? Um, Although I didn't make chocolate frogs this last time around, I'll probably have to make it up to them. But then I made them the deal that if we finish the book, once we finish the books and finish the movies, we'd go to Universal Studios and have a time. And so since we just finished that the last book, it's time for us to make our trip out to Universal Studios. You like both the book and the movie? They made the movie and the book, nobody would understand the references, especially ones from Atari. Yeah, it's very true. Um, yeah, so Anna is not on this week. She'll be on next week. If I'm not mistaken. And then if I remember right, also she said that she will be streaming on her personal stream tomorrow. Yeah, she'll be on her personal stream tomorrow. Um, yeah, she was kind enough to let me go ahead and stream a couple of times this month. Um, but yeah, that's so yeah, that's what happened with Anna this this week. Okay, I'm thinking I might go through and I might go through and steal hands from another project to be able to make these work and to be able to make it work more quickly. Um, I mean, I could go through and block in a hand and things like that, but then it would be a little bit too lumpy. I want to get a good looking end result pretty quickly, so I want to use a final hand. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's see. I've got trying to think now, where do I want to bring this from? I have a hand that's already pretty close. Nini. Scarlet. I can't see. I'm starting to get to that point in the morning where I've got the light coming in from. So here's a project that I started based on my kids. And here is what I want to bring over. Let's say insert. Now here's something that's interesting. I don't have my character standing on top of the on top of that origin point right now. So I'll want to fix that at some point. This character was built on top of the origin, and so the arms are working the way that they're supposed to. Let's go ahead and say you know what, let's say split hidden, and we'll just hide that. And let's say skin shade, color, fill object. That way we have this in the same sort of vein as what we've got the other thing there. And I don't know. I'll see. Maybe I'll use the arm, the whole arm. Let's do it. Might as well, right? Okay. So let's start off and kind of shrink it down so that it's about the right size. Place it roughly in position. It looks super awkward like this. Let me see. The arm needs to be a little bit longer. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let's shrink it down some more so that the hands are about the size that I want them to be. Kind of looks like a 5 o'clock shadow. Yeah, that's actually just the turning of the planar edge right there of the cheeks going to the side to the front. So yeah, it's just meant to be like a nice clean silhouette. So that's what we're getting right there. That's a good point though. So I might end up having to go in here and having to kind of soften it out down here so that it's not as planar. That's something we could do. Let me see if we can get a little bit better of a... Boy, I'd better focus on my bagel a little bit or else it's gonna go bad. Okay, because it is the right color that I want down there. It's like I haven't added anything different, so it's not going to be, it's just going to be the way that the light's hitting it in ZBrush, which is a pain, but whatever. Okay, with this, let's go ahead and take this. It shouldn't have a texture map anymore. Sweet. Poly paint. Adjust colors. Okay, we'll have like the skin kind of close by so we can adjust it. And let's adjust this intensity. Oops, it's getting a little bit too... Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, let me see. Let's play with this gamma then. That looks about right. That looks pretty close. Yeah. Look at that. Pretty spanking cool. Oh, here, let's do this instead. Let's keep that for a minute. I'm going to leave those arms there for a minute. But what I want to do... Yeah, okay, the hands, they might be a little bit too small now. And part of it's going to be like the shape the shape and the length of the fingers and things like that. So I want to make sure that the palm is kind of what I'm measuring right now. Bit off more than I could chew. Turning on local symmetry is helpful because then I can focus on each arm individually. And then when I scale, it'll scale from the place that I have my, what's it called? My pivot for my tool, for the gizmo. Like, good golly. I'm not doing well with words right now. Okay, something like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I want to you know what? Control-Shift-S to be able to shrink that down. What I want to do is I want to have just the hand visible, make it its own polygroup. That way I can adjust the hand and the arm separately. So right now, let's go ahead and bring this back. I'm going to select that arm. And let's see, let's hold Alt and click and drag up the arm so that way it's kind of going up in the direction we want. Let's get it a little bit differently. There we go. And I'll just scale. The elbow's not in the right place, so we'll have to, yeah, let's go ahead and kind of put it down to where the elbow needs to be. Let's grab that lower half and kind of mask it off. Okay, and then we'll grab this, Control-Shift-X to grow it one, just to make sure that we have the pieces kind of selected out that we want. And then let's go ahead and kind of lengthen that out a little bit. And we also have to, I'm going to rotate it too, but we'll see. Let's get this, come on, inverted, smooth it out. And then we'll go ahead and just kind of, okay, for some reason I was misreading what was happening down there. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll turn off those arms. We'll just call it something like that, or whatever. I probably won't use this this body piece at all. I mean, it's yeah, I'm just gonna delete it. Not something I need. These ears, let's take those up and put it close to the head. It just makes more sense. Earrings, arms. This is an arm block-in. I don't need it anymore, so I'm just gonna delete it. Okay, let's work on making these hands work for us. The fingers, I mentioned the fingers being too short, and I also want to go ahead and make individual polygroups for the different segments of the fingers. So yeah, Nadira, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh man. Going to be a good day. It is going to be a good day. Okay, I'm going to take I take these, hide these. Oops. Control Shift S. Yeah, it looks like I did have an extra ring in there. You can see I've got like an extra piece. Okay, let's invert it. Control Shift S. Oh shoot, not Control Shift S. Control W. Now I can Control Shift S as I need to. Let's go ahead and Control Shift S 1, 2, 3 times. Control W a couple times just so we can see a good clear color difference. Control Shift S. Let's do it up to there. Control W. It's like there's a little bit more, a couple more spans in there than I think I want, but it's fine. We'll deal with it. Control Shift S. Just make sure that that's there like that. Control Shift S one more time. And then we'll get the thumb. So let's go Control W. And with the thumb, there are fewer joints that are exposed. So whereas here we have like the base knuckle, and we got this middle knuckle, and we got this end knuckle for the different phalanges of the finger. With the thumb, for the thumb we have, you know, like this base knuckle, that's where it's connecting to the hand, and then we have one knuckle after that. So what we want to do is maybe put it like maybe right here. Let's do that. Control W. And then we'll go ahead and we'll modify lengths and things like that here in a minute. Control A. Okay, just give that a little bit more length. So let's go ahead and grab these. We're just going to pull on them a little bit. Oops. Okay, let's soften that a little bit, soften that both ways. And we're just trying to lengthen out those fingers just a little bit. One of the things I want to do is adjust kind of the shaping in here. I've got some weird, I don't know, it felt like it worked back in the day for that particular character that this was built for. It doesn't feel like it's quite working now, so I got to go through and figure out, and it's probably a lot to do with like the thickness of the fingers and how they're pretty even. So here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and I'll select this pinky. We'll just kind of shrink that down a little bit. Let's grab the index finger, and we'll do something kind of similar, but not as much. Let's grab this ring finger and kind of pull it down just a little bit. In fact, let's do the middle finger as well. It's just like just a little bit too thick. It's already starting to feel better. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so we do things like this so that we can kind of save some time. This is something I do, you know, a lot of people do this for both personal and professional projects. So, you know, don't feel bad if you need to go ahead and drag in other pieces. Since this is something that you know, that I'm doing for fun, and something that I'm doing for, yeah, really just kind of for fun. I don't have to worry as much about, oops, turn on symmetry here, or maybe not. Turn off symmetry, drag that up. We're gonna have to get rid of one of these. So we're just going to say, it looks like it's been fused. I won't worry about it then. We'll just go ahead and grab a different piece. Grab one of these or something like that. And you know what? One of the things I want to do is I kind of want to make these puffball sleeves up top here around the shoulders. And so I'm thinking I might go ahead and take this and kind of play with it some. Let's actually just make this the sleeve. It might be too big. It's the wrong shape, I know that, but you know, we'll deal with that. Okay, let's say Control Shift A. We'll just pull on this a little bit. Okay, let's say split hidden so that it's its own thing. Got torso, and then I'm going to just name this shoulders. If I can spell shoulders, there we go. Let's kind of smooth that out a little bit so that it's a little bit more, a little bit nicer. Best followers, primes, and viewers on mountviewers.com. I disagree. The best viewers, the best followers, best primes are on Pixelogic Twitch. All right. Sound off if you agree. So now we've got our sleeves on there. The chest feels a little bit too narrow. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this, kind of pull on it. And that already feels a little bit better. The shape of it though, it's just needing some refinement. Okay. Let's start making some clothes for her. Let's go ahead and start work on that skirt first, I think. We'll say on ZBrush Live. That's I'll broaden that. Thank you, Quinn. That's true. I misspoke, buddy. I misspoke. All right. So it has been a long time since I've done anything with the dynamics, with the cloth dynamics. I want to see if I can get a good skirt out of this. Let's see. I'm going to go into my IM and primitives, and I'm just going to select this nice little sphere here. Let's go ahead and rotate that upward. Make sure that's at home. That way I can just, you know, be absolutely sure that that's in the center of the world. And I'm just going to, oh, give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and take this. Yeah, let's kind of scale it out a little bit. Something like this for right now. Let's go ahead and get rid of the bottom half. Delete hidden. Oops. Delete hidden. Let's go ahead and make sure that this is about the right size. And granted, you know, one of the things that we'll do, let's say deformation real quick, and we'll say polish by groups. That's a bit too much. Okay, just for the sake of being able to get a little bit more of that shape. And I want to check proportions. So let's bring this up to the top, kind of scale it out so that it's kind of fitting that same scale a little bit. Okay, and then Control D just to be able to, oh here, let's do this first actually. Let's go ahead and say geometry, crease, let's say crease PG, so that way we get the creases around the open edges right here. And then we'll go ahead and say Control D, and we'll just delete lower. This should hopefully get us enough enough points in there so that when I use the dynamic cloth feature that it'll give me some good folds and some good wrinkles without getting too fussy in the details. You can see I've definitely kept it very simplified in my sketch. I feel like that's a little bit more simplified than I want, a little less naturalistic. So I want to give it a chance to feel a little bit more natural, feel a bit more like cloth, especially since it'll be simulating against her body. It'll kind of, like her body will kind of interrupt the falling of the cloth. And so that's what we want to do. So I've got this right now. This feels about right. I've got a couple of things that I've got to do to be able to make this work though. Okay, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to scale this all the way up, kind of like this, and then I'm going to grab this inside. Okay, and then I'm just going to scale it out some. And the idea is that this will feel so here's kind of the idea, the reason why I'm doing it like this. If I have it here, let me go ahead and do this. By having this top bit masked, it's going to help to keep that it's going to help to keep that center, you know, the main part, the waistline of that skirt in place, and it's going to simulate from there. Okay, and then because this space is not as, like, there's not as much of a change in diameter when that comes down and falls into place, we're not going to get as drastic of wrinkles right here close to the center. But as we get out here farther away from the edge, all those parts are going to, there's a lot more geometry and there's a lot bigger a change in diameter. So when it falls in, it's going to go from being this wide to being this wide, and all those points are going to try to keep the same distance from each other, and so that's going to create those folds and those wrinkles. So I'm going to open up the dynamics tray over here. I don't need this open right now. I don't need that open right now. Not a big deal. Either way, it doesn't matter. I want to turn off the arms just so that they're not in the way, and the hat. So let's see, arms and hat. Arms, hat. And I'm going to take this skirt and put it all the way down at the bottom, just because I want to make sure that as I add, like I like to try to organize my scene, and I haven't done that very well yet. But I like to have the clothing at the bottom, and I like to organize it based on like what it is. So right now I've got the hat, and you know, technically the hat's kind of below the glasses. So let's just move it up a couple so it's hat, glasses. In fact, we can take this and merge that down so that way the glasses are all one one subtool. Okay, and then we've got the skirt. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rename this skirt. Okay. Yeah, lots to do on that hair, but yeah, anyway. We'll have to see if we can get to that sum here in a little bit. Let's see. So we've got our skirt. Okay, let's go ahead and let's play with this. If I were to, one thing I do want to make sure that I turn on is this button right here, this collision volume. And what that's going to do is it's going to take the other subtools that are visible in the scene, and it's going to make kind of like this this collision volume around. In fact, we're going to take this down to 0.2. Yeah. 0.2. I'm just going to say recalculate. Okay. So now when I go ahead and hit run simulation, you see now we're getting the collapse right there that we're looking for. Auto save. Bagel. And one of the things that we can decide is whether or not this is the right amount. Like, these folds feel like they're kind of deep to me. Let's come down here and let's say display properties, hit double so we can see that. So you can see like those wrinkles, those folds are a little bit deep. So I'm going to undo that, and let's turn on double again just so that we don't lose that. I'm going to go ahead and kind of scale that down some so that it doesn't have to fall as far. And then I'm also going to scale it in. Oh, in fact, let's do it like this. Something like that, maybe. We'll have to try it out and see, but you see, just to make sure this is fitting around her nicely. Let's kind of put this into place. And I just want to make sure this is fitting her body. Okay. And then once we're done with the simulation, we can go through and we can tighten it up around her waist some and things like that. But here's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and let's say, oh, you know what? Let's pull in this color and just see kind of how this works, just so we can have it in mind. MRGB, color, fill object, sweet. So now it feels like we're progressing. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to take this top one. Let's make these different polygroups so that way we can just select that really nice and easy. She's like, this is embarrassing, Steven. Where are my arms? Yeah. Okay, run simulation. Okay, you can see it's getting kind of like this interesting. I'm not sure that I'm liking what's happening right here. Maybe if we keep it running, maybe it'll you know what? Let me see. Let's duplicate this out so that I have a copy of it. We'll hide it. We'll come up, we'll say Control Z a couple times just to be able to make this so that it's all right. I think it might have too many spans around the outside. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off by coming up here. I'm going to say reconstruct subdivisions. And then I'll go ahead, let's say delete higher. And then with my Z modeler, I'm going to add in, let's see, keep polygroups flat, something like that. Okay. And then we'll just go ahead and say Control Shift X, Control W. Okay. So now we're good. I'm going to try a version of this with like less divisions to be able to get bigger folds. And I'm going to see kind of what we get. See, that feels a bit more like what I think I want. It's not quite. Let me see. You see, we're getting a little bit broader of folds. We're getting fewer folds too, which is a big thing. This is so one of the things you want to think about. Yeah, right now I'm kind of prioritizing style, but one of the things you want to think about too is what's the material that you're wanting this to be. So you kind of have to balance out those kinds of ideas when you're developing these sorts of characters. What's the material and what's the style, and that's something that we're always kind of trying to push and balance at work as well. It's like how do we make this feel like a certain material and then make it fit within a style. It's a tricky conversation to have. Is it leather? Is it a canvas material? Is it there's a lot of thought that kind of goes into this to make it feel like it's intentional. And intention is a huge deal when you're designing characters for animation. Yeah, I have a specular highlight just right over here. Let's see. Recently created a character, however, doesn't have good topology because it's posing. I have low good topology, but when I have the pose difficult in ZBrush, maybe because it's too low. So when you pose a character, especially if you're in ZBrush, it's really nice to be able to pose a character with low topology. My character doesn't have topology at all. It's all just kind of mushy, mumpy. Like there is no topology here. This is just mesh. So one of the things that I love being able to do is being able to have nice clean topology because it's easier to control. And then once I get it to a point where I'm like, okay, I love how it looks, this is fitting exactly what I need, the pose is really dynamic, and I can go ahead and I can add subdivision levels to be able to refine it. So right now this skirt is very low resolution and I'm liking it. It's kind of hard to visualize maybe what it will look like when it's smoother, so I can go ahead and say Control D, and that'll get me a little bit closer to what the final look could look like, and then I can still kind of go through and refine it. But then if I go all the way up and I have several different subdivision layers and it looks nice and smooth, but I decide that it's kind of hard to I want to be able to move this, but it's creating some weird shapes in there. It's just kind of messy, kind of hard to deal with. At least I've got subdivision levels, so I can step it down, and be able to control where my points are. Just kind of pull those out, and then we're good. And then you can step it back up, and it looks nice. Yeah. Here, I'm going to go ahead and kind of grab that. I'm going to say color fill object. I like that. In fact, I kind of like that color too for this for the torso. I have to play with that. But yeah, does that make sense with like the subdivisions and everything? It's really kind of a tricky game to play. I feel like this particular piece, it's getting kind of like I feel like this particular skirt isn't working for what I want. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is that I want and how I can get there. Because now this feels like it doesn't have enough enough folds. And so it's just a matter of kind of figuring out, you know, is this what I want, or is this what I want? I think this is too much, it's too heavy. So one of the things that I can do, let me see, Control Shift D just to be able to have a copy of that. I'm going to go back up to this skirt, and I'm just going to undo until it gets back to its simulation state, you know, to the part where it's ready to fall and it hasn't fallen yet. Oh, there we go. Here, actually, let's go ahead and say Control D, say geometry, delete lower. So we're going to bring back this this subdivision here. I'm going to get rid of that right there. Okay, just so that I have a new skirt to kind of play around with. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to take this, and the other thing I'm going to play with now is the firmness. There are a couple of things that are going to affect how your cloth folds. There's going to be the resolution of the cloth, and there's also going to be the firmness and the gravity strength. Those are the ones that I like to play around with the most. So I'm going to take this up, let's say 4, just for the sake of being able to see kind of what it is that it'll do. So I've got this, we'll say run simulation. So you can see it's like it's resisting the folding. It's trying to figure out, okay, how do I fit together? How do I make this work? That looks like that might be too much firmness. Okay, you can see it's like it's making bigger folds, but it's not quite exactly what I want. So let's try this again. I'm going to say firmness down to 3, and let's say, yeah, we'll leave it like that. Let's test it out, see what it does. You can already see there's like a huge difference in how that worked out. You see, I'm trying to figure out how much I like that. And one of the things that I want to kind of play around with is that right now I'm getting this, you know what, I've got an idea. Okay, so let's do this. Here's some other way that you can kind of modify how your cloth behaves, is you can determine your gravity direction. So you can see right here next to gravity, you have the set direction. So I'm going to set that. Let's grab the grab the poly group, run simulation. So you can see like it's getting me a little bit more of that bell shape. Now one of the things that, that's a little embarrassing. Let's grab this. We'll just kind of color that in just so that it's, so she's not looking a little too cheeky there. All right. Oh, you know what? That's the hip piece. I can just color that whole thing in. That's better. That way it's like she's wearing tights, you know? Okay. One of the things I want to do, I am going to use the cloth pull. Let's grab onto this skirt here. Oops, that one got a little bit out of control. I do kind of want to like have like this bell sort of shape to it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to start kind of molding and sculpting. We use the dynamics to play and get the basic folds in there, which were helpful. but now I want to kind of art direct it. I want to figure out, okay, so now I want to have something a little bit more along this sort of shape. I don't want it flowing down around her rear end. I want it to kind of fit more of a certain shape. So let's get this in here. And then what I think I'm going to do, let's kind of reset this this brush here, change it from RGB to Z add. Yeah, so I will add thickness. One thing that we can do is we can come in here and just turn on some dynamics, some dynamic thickness, just so that we can have a little bit of that pre-visualization effect. Okay, just kind of try to sculpt in some of these. Oops. It's like I like to have like super clean folds, and I'm trying to not get obsessive with it, but I'm trying to also make sure that it's fitting my vision. It's like right here, and you can see like it's creating a really weird kind of ripple. I want it to be cleaner. So just kind of a matter of smoothing it out a little bit, pushing it in some. And one of the things that I love doing, and you'll hear me talk about this a lot, is the alternative functions to brushes. Is like, you know, holding Alt and letting the alternative function do its work. So like with Move Brush, I love being able to use this Alt function. I hold Alt and it'll let me kind of pull out along the normal. So instead of like pulling left and right and up and down according to how we're looking at it with the camera, it's pulling out from the actual mesh. So helpful. A friend of mine that I worked with back like 8 years ago taught me that. It totally changed my life. His name was Hugh. I haven't seen Hugh in a long time. In fact, that was my first job doing like real ZBrush. Okay, here's a trick that I like to use. Okay, so I've got this little I've got this fold right here, okay, that I can go ahead and I can kind of push and pull unevenly. Okay, really kind of nice. It's just the way that you go through and select and mask. It can help you to define what your selections are. Oops, not that way. We want this, we want this, we want this. I'm just going to invert it, and so we can kind of pull this around some. And some of this we're going to want to play with it as well. Okay, let me see. Let's make my move brush like nice and big. Grab that and that. Soften that out. And then push this in just a little bit. Oops. Just kind of play with that shape, just pulling that out some. is a little bit wavy, so I'm going to kind of try to true it up a little bit, but not a ton. I'm not super worried about folds being perfect, but I do want it to feel intentional. So let's see, let's grab these, grab these. Let's kind of take these together and we'll just kind of push those in. And then we'll take it and let's turn off the dynamic and we'll pull it out. Okay, and we'll just kind of smooth that out just a little bit. Okay, and then we'll just say, here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to take this morph target. Where is it at? Morph target right here. We're going to say store morph target. So that way we have this shape that we can kind of go back to. And then I'm going to say run simulation again. Woo! Look at that. It's falling completely off of her. That's just so not cool. Just not cool. Autosave. I want to bring back some of the naturalistic sort of folds back here. So I'm going to turn up my firmness again. And I'm going to say run simulation. There we go. Now this part over here, let's kind of fix this a little bit. In fact, let me see. No, that was good. I liked that. It's just like this, the way that it's showing the absolute shape of the leg. I don't want it to show the absolute shape of the leg. I want it to be more of its own shape. So we're just gonna come through here and I'm just trying to pull this out a little bit. Now one of the things that I can do, the reason I had stored a morph target is because I wanted to make sure that if whatever happened with the cloth dynamics in this front area was too much or was not quite what I wanted, I could go ahead and use this this morph target brush, morph brush right here, and I can go ahead and I can, you know, brush that. Let's turn off the RGB, and you can see it's actually taking it and restoring it to what it was before the simulation. Okay. So yeah, that's the point of that. Prashan, how you doing, my friend? Busy week. You've been posting a lot lately, dude. Let me see, let's go through here and just kind of add that in. And I'm going to try to kind of flare up the ends of these positive sides of wrinkles just a little bit. And this will probably be enough for what I need. I'll probably add and take away or whatever as I need to, but yeah, so this is my own concept. I went through and sketched it on the iPad first, and then I this is the head sculpt that I did last week with the body block in, and Um, yeah, so then I was able to go ahead and take it and kind of start mushing it around. It's for the School of Games. What's it called? The School of Games mood board challenge. I'm a judge every year in the contest. Well, I guess every year since last year. um, my really good friend Micah Schneider runs the contest for School of Games, and so she asked me to be a judge. So it's pretty fun. I get to hang out and see all the cool art. um, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So let's see, let's get that. I don't like the way that that's kind of just rolling off right there. So let's pull this up. The idea is to kind of eliminate these like major definitive bumps. I kind of like how it's happening, how it's happening back through here. That feels right, but back here, like over here on the sides, I feel like it's just too much. So I'm just trying to take it out, make it feel a little bit better. Let's see if maybe we can give this skirt a little bit of a feeling of movement. Let me see. Maybe the other direction. Oh, do we have anybody on? I guess where's everybody? Where's everybody watching from? Let's see who's the furthest away. Who is the furthest away? From California. I know that I saw some UK earlier. I saw India, which that might win. Because I think India is pretty much like the exact opposite side of the planet from me. You saw the Batman movie last night? Not a bad watch. That's funny. That's funny. Philippines, cool. Cool. It's funny. I just learned that one of my friends is Filipina, and I'd always thought she was like Samoan or Tongan, and it just blew my mind. She says she speaks a little bit of Tagalog and everything. Minnesota, yeah, you don't win there, buddy. I'm sorry. But if you're back in Sri Lanka or something like that, you might be close to winning the contest there. Darn. Let's add in a little bit more of a fold up there at top. I'm just going to kind of try to smooth it out too so that it feels like it's more uniform. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing the Batman. Um, I hear very, very, very good things about it. Like I haven't heard. Like I think your comment there, Quentin, was probably my first. The first time I'd heard anybody say anything mediocre about it. It's not a bad watch. Okay, right here. One of the things I want to do is I want to. I'm in Cali, but my soul is in New Zealand. That's pretty close. That's competing with the Philippines out there, yeah. I'm going to use a broad standard brush. Oops. Um, just holding Alt to be able to kind of push it in some. Yeah, it's maybe it's not quite what I want. I'm trying to figure out a way to get some good shape right here, because I want this to feel like it's got maybe a little bit of a buckle. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll leave it. We'll leave it for now. We will leave it for now. I'm going to let's turn off the dynamic subdivisions just for the sake of being able to kind of see our lines a little bit better, be able to clean it up a little bit better. It gets really tricky when you have the dynamic subdivisions turned on to be able to really see what it is that you're doing sometimes. So yeah, just switching between turning it on and off is really helpful. I've been spending way too much time on this skirt. I think we'll just call it good for right now. New to ZBrush, and just want to know why you don't just T-pose and pose her. So the reason why I am sculpting her in pose is just because it's a creative exercise rather than a portfolio exercise. And so one of the things that I'm trying to accomplish is just getting to the final look quicker. It's rather than being like a production model. It's just me trying to feel out a character. In fact, I kind of want to play with her pose a little bit better. But yeah, it's kind of a complicated choice to make. I usually go through and make things in T-pose, but then it really kind of just depends on what it is that I'm trying to achieve with it. Since this is something that isn't meant as like a production model sort of exercise, I'm not too worried about there we go. I feel like that feels a lot better. I do have things that are in T-pose though, like for instance her arms. Her arms are very much in a neutral symmetrical pose. It's so much better already. It already feels much more dynamic. Let's go ahead. Let's work on pushing this a little bit. Let's say arms. Let's kind of push this a little bit like this and see if we can get it to do what we want. Invert, pull it out. See, it feels like it's collapsing a bit too much back here now. I don't know, I might need to go through and kind of just model a skirt in there. Yeah, it's 3D concepting, so it's more like a sketch. The banner and the interface stream made by Pixelogic or Streamer, kind of both. They had a template that they hand out to the streamers, and we can do whatever we want with it. So, for instance, I kind of made it so that my little ring here right around my face was a little bit different than what they'd. I don't think they had that at all, actually. I just wanted to have something here. I saw what, gosh, who was it that had said that, or had one? I think it might have been Ana Carolina, who had gone through and taught me about like being able to make certain shapes for your camera, your webcam, and I was like, that's super cool. So I went ahead and did that, and I've had it ever since. And then different layouts, so like, you know, having my name and stuff over here, the title of my segment in the middle, and then being able to have something over here on the far right to be able to, you know, advertise my course, or to be able to just have something fun and engaging. I might actually start going through and trading out that corner graphic to be something that is more relevant to what it is that we're working on, like I did when I had my Calavera project. Let me show you. Yeah, so in fact, maybe I'll just scroll down. Yeah, Instagram. When I was working on her, I had traded out my little corner graphic for a friend from Ukraine. Welcome. I hope you're staying safe. It's it's very heavy what's happening. Sitting in a tank. Wow. Yeah, stay safe. Stay safe. I hope that this is, you know, feel free to chime in and chat, you know, as much as you want. You know, make it fun for you, right? It's a hard situation that you guys are in, and I hope everything gets better very, very quickly. I didn't expect to see anybody from Ukraine today. I hope you guys do. I hope you guys are doing well. I love your president, though. There aren't very many world leaders that will actually put themselves on the front line like that, and that's very cool. Very, very cool. So yeah, as I was saying, I might go through and actually kind of remodel a new skirt just to be able to have something that's a little bit more custom. All right, let's do this. Let's say unmasked, and I'm going to grab the transpose cloth. Oops. Okay, so far it's not too bad. Here, let's do this. I'm going to rotate this. I'm liking that a little bit better. That's actually much closer to what I think I want. So let's clean this up. Happy accidents. Okay. me see. It's always kind of a trick playing with clothing, because there's a lot that goes into it design wise, and there's also a lot that goes into it technically, making it feel right, making it look right. Okay, turn off the transpose cloth. Let's go back to the regular transpose. Don't forget to save. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't think I've saved the whole time. I haven't tried the 3D mouse. Oh my gosh. Have you tried it, Sean? Dude, like it's such a neat thing. I think Pablo has one. I think it'd be interesting to try it. Oh, you use it? Nice. How do you like it, Prashant? What have been some of the coolest, I guess, highlights of it? What's your favorite thing about it? Ooh. Trying to kind of even this out so that it's still covering her body nicely. There we go. That feels much, much nicer. Yeah, I like this much better. I'm glad we did another version, because this is already so much better. Okay. Cool. Let's go ahead. Let's turn on the hat again so that we have it. Oh, look at that. The hat's in the wrong position. Let's go ahead and put it back onto her head. Let's go ahead and turn off the color for a minute so that we can see what it is that we're doing. I want to make sure that that hole is slightly visible above the top of her head. Let's go ahead and make sure that this is kind of more centered around the head so that we can place it well. Place the hat, I mean. And then we'll just kind of sculpt this back into position so that it's better fitting her head. Hey kiddo. Okay, just kind of take that and mush that around. Okay. I kind of like that color. I'll have to keep that in mind, because I kind of like that. Anyway. Still working at Netflix, yep. Yep. I was going to buy a few years back, but reviews said it was very unintuitive. Yeah, I know that I had, there was somebody that I worked with, or I guess worked for, that had a 3D mouse, and he was really good with it. It looked like it seems like it had a little bit of a learning curve, but I think as soon as you get kind of past the initial bump of kind of figuring out the basic moves, I think that things kind of worked really pretty well for him. Yeah. I don't have Dynamesh turned on anymore, so let's go ahead. This is one of the cool things. You can just click and drag to your resolution that you want, and then it goes in and sets your resolution. So now if I hit Dynamesh, boom, the whole thing's at that resolution. Awesome. I love it so much. That's one of my absolute favorite little things. I've used it so much, and I can't wait until I can update my work computer to the newest ZBrush, because that's something that's been quite nice. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I need to select part of this to be able to make the blouse. I'm going to take, you know what, let's see, let's go something like, that. Drag that across. Or the other thing that we could do, maybe I'll do this instead. No, we'll do it like this. That's fine. As I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to do. Mask circle. And we'll just take these and kind of place them so that it makes it so that I can make that nice. Oops. Oh, come on, you. And then mask around that. On the back, I'm not entirely sure what it is I want to have, but I think what I want to do is something kind of like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll clean it up. Okay, now this is going to be part of like one of the layers for her top. Okay, so her top, the way that I'm seeing this is I'm actually probably seeing this a lot differently than I think I ought to be seeing this. Okay, so originally I was thinking of it being kind of more of like a, well, there's kind of like the corset piece that's going around her waist, and then there's going to be kind of like the brassiere part that's kind of more of an exoskeleton sort of piece going over her breasts, and then some kind of blouse, like soft blouse piece coming out underneath that. I'm beginning to wonder if that's even the right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this. Okay, so we have this piece here. And I think with this piece, I should actually have this go up and over instead of having it be. Let's go ahead and just kind of do something like that. And then up here, we can just kind of have it loop down and around, not that far down. Something like that. I mean, it's not something that's ever going to be visible, really, but because it's going to be hidden by a hair back here, and probably by a cape as well. No capes, but this one's going to have a cape. My Storm has a cape, so why not this one, right? 3D mouse is really useful for painting, inspecting, and also doing respective tasks like alligator scales. That's interesting. It may not be useful for experienced people since you have to switch to keyboard for hotkeys. What does that mean, Prashant? You're experienced people. I was wondering if you could give me some insight. I want to make my own little 3D animated webisode, TV series. Do you have any production tips? And two, do you know how I would go about pitching it to streaming platforms? I don't know anything about pitching. I do know it takes a lot of like premeditative development to be able to make sure that it works. Because a lot of the times that people are going to want to know that that you've thought things out. They want to be able to buy a nice product for their streaming services, like Netflix, HBO, etc. Right? One of the tricky things is that most streaming platforms, to my understanding, they don't take outside pitches. They take like internal pitches. So I don't know how easy it would be to get a pitch in from outside. You would have to find somebody who does know the pitching process that you trust, and that could take a while. So I recommend that if you did want to get something like that picked up by Netflix or some other Slava Ukraini. Godspeed. I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay well. Good luck. So yeah, to be able to. Sorry, it shakes me up every time. To be able to pitch, I think that one of the best ways that you could go about getting things picked up is to get as much of a good sample out there as possible. So if you have your own even if it's small scale, like small 5-minute shorts or things like that, that you're putting out there and that you are developing and you've developed it well and things like that, I feel like that gets more attention. But yeah, that I think would be my suggestion, is to kind of develop it. Okay, thickness down to 0. Let's say extract, accept, and we'll call this blouse. Put it above the skirt. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, this piece is miserable. This is not going to be very nice and clean to work with. I'm going to hit double so we can see it. Okay, what I want to do is I want to define a couple of polygroups. Okay, so let's go up here, Control Shift, and we'll go over to Slice Curve. And we're just going to slice it. Okay, like just plain and simple, just trying to make sure that I'm getting some basic definition to what it is that I want to have in my topology. And here's something else I can do. I can go Control Shift S. Oh no, it's not gonna work for me. Never mind. I was hoping it would work, but it didn't work. So yeah, whatever. Let's go ahead. That's not gonna work either. I was trying to like shrink it down so I could have just that outside edge, but yeah. So you think I'd be best doing like a small webisode series on YouTube to gain some views, prove that people are interested? I think that that's definitely a route to go. It's not really something that I actually thought about, so I'm kind of trying to think of things on the fly of like like what do I suggest? Come over here, geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. And now what I want to do is I'm going to have, let's go up to stroke, curve function. And I want to have, let's turn off creased edges. It's not really a big deal either way, but you know, whatever. We're going to say frame mesh. So now you see we get these edges kind of, or these loops, these curves going around the outside of those polygroups. Oh, my shoulders and my neck and my back and my everything is just kind of achy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say ZRemesher. And right now this is at 38,000 polys for just this blouse piece. Let's say, yeah, let's start off with 5. I'm going to turn off adapt. We'll try it with keep groups turned on, and I'm going to hold Alt and hit ZRemesher. I usually do the Alt ZRemesher instead of the regular ZRemesher first. But, you know, you go through, you try it out, and if it works, then great. If not, then you try something different. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I'm going to hit 7 to be able to do the frame mesh again. Okay. Instead of going through and doing the Alt ZRemesher, I'm just going to hit ZRemesher and see what I get. That's not terrible. There are a few things that I'm going to go through and clean up. I'm going to keep this, but I'm going to clean it up. So like places like right here, places like right here. So let's go ahead and use ZModeler. And we are going to say collapse edge. Okay, so we get that. We get that. That looks good. That looks good. Cool. want this to kind of continue around there. So let's see. How does that need to go? That needs to go and be just, let's say delete that poly and that poly. And then I'll actually get rid of this edge loop right here. And then we'll go ahead and we will say let's get rid of that. We'll say bridge edges, bridge that together so that that's together. And then let's get rid of these through here so we can kind of clean it up some. Okay, let's say stitch to midpoint so we can get this and this together. This doesn't have enough polygons in there. I wanna go through and let's see if we can slide that around some. I'm liking how some of this is happening, like over here on this right side. Well, left screen, but right side. No, this is not symmetrical. This is something that's kind of asymmetrical. So I'm going through and kind of working out. I could technically, like you're saying, I could go ahead and make it symmetrical, and yeah, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. Just because, just for kicks and giggles. We'll say modify topology, delete hidden. Say delete hidden, mirror and weld. No, it needs to move over a little bit. We'll say mirror and weld. I wish that there was like a bridge edge loop partial. Oops. So I'm just going back and forth and kind of bridging things together. Let me see. Yeah, it retopoed asymmetrically because yeah, it's not in symmetry. Yeah, Quentin brings up a good point, trying to bring up making a web series and keeping it consistent, and it would take a while to get traction, but I mean if it's something that you're interested in, I think it could be worth considering. It's a tricky one to think about, but yeah. Let me see. ZBrush Princess? I didn't see ZBrush Princess. Mind and visual therapeutic. I'm glad you think that it's therapeutic. Yeah, I enjoy doing topology, but it's also one of those things that's just it can get tedious sometimes. but it's a necessary step for the overall success and happiness of production. Okay, now in the front's going to be a little bit different than the back is. Let's go ahead and let's bridge that together. Oh, it's interesting how I'm getting that kind of gap right there. It's not actually a gap. It's just kind of it's I think it's called vertex shearing, where it's like it's a quad, but because the points are kind of like off in a weird way, like the face itself is actually twisting. I think that is what's causing that issue. Yeah, let's go through and kind of just pull this around. Now when we get to the top, I want it there to be a little bit more of like a what's it called, like a kind of V, a V instead of retopo properly today and save an animator's life. Yeah, yeah, no, it's absolutely true. You know, I'm gonna leave that like that for now. Let me see. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Take this, we'll say local symmetry, and we'll bring that together. Come together right now. It's always a good time for the Beatles. You know what, I'm gonna have to fix that the top one manually. But the rest of this should be all right. Part of what I want to do, actually, let's do this. Let's delete these through here. Not all of them though. Let's do, yeah, we'll just delete those bottom ones and we'll delete these top ones. And then let's kind of bring this out. Sorry, I moved topological. Okay, kind of pull that apart, pull that in, something kind of like this-ish, right? Okay, so here's what we want to do. We got to get rid of a couple of these edge loops. Let me see, so I'm going to need just the one. So let's get rid of these and we'll say bridge edges, and then from right here we can say insert, you know, 1, 2, oh, just 2, okay, and then we can go ahead and we can say bridge across like that. Oops. The thing I want to do is that I want this front part of the chest of the blouse to feel more like it's connected. Oh, you know what? Better idea. Let's I'll leave that kind of how it is, but I'm going to get rid of this middle row right here. Delete hidden, because I got an idea. So sorry, I'm like kind of jumping around a little bit here, but that's just kind of how it goes. I'm going to go ahead and make it so that it's a full blouse. Okay, so you see I've got like a 3-point star right here, and then I've got everything else is just flowing down and around. So that way I have like the two rounded halves, and those two coming together is going to make my little V-neck corner. So yeah, we can see like right there. I do want this to have like a second part that's kind of like a sheer fabric going through there. I feel like that'll look kind of cool. it'll be something to test out, but let's kind of pull that down. I'm just gonna even this out just a little bit. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay, this is like way too intense for me, so I'm just going to ease out on that that smooth brush. Kind of make sure that it's a little less powerful. Let me know if I'm talking too much, or if I'm not talking enough, or if I'm talking to the wrong stuff. Let's see. It might sound silly, but this is... But is this a stream that is being replayed? No. It's not a silly question. It's a good question. So no. 12 Nickels. That's kind of a fun name. I like it. No, this isn't being replayed. At the end of the day, if you send a model off to get rigged and the rigger doesn't like the topo, you'll chuck the model right back at you and say to do it properly. Yep. That's absolutely true. Okay, make it all one poly group for right now. Let's just kind of smooth it out some. Let's get these slide points so that they're a little bit more even. Cozy it on out, as you do. It sounds like my kids are watching some Pokemon something or other. See, I'm just gonna kind of pull that out. Okay, so now that that's not in position anymore, I'm going to keep it in position for a minute and try to see if I can get... Here, let's use our Z modeler brush, and we can say mask edge loop partial, so that way we get that bottom edge loop masked out. And I am going to... You know what? Let's do it. Let's do that for the one above it, actually, and we can do it like this since we since we're not next to the edge anymore. Okay, here let's go ahead and let's say deformation. We'll say polish. Not that much. Not that much. Relax. Too much. Relax. Wow. Yeah, anyway, we'll just do it like this. Not a big deal. I want to try to make it feel like it's bunching up a little bit at the bottom. So we'll probably go through and we will do something like this. Do something like this. Just kind of smooth it out some. Okay, so shape-wise, it's starting to be kind of cool. Yeah, let me know. Anytime you guys have questions, like, I am more than up for questions, so let me know. I really love this type of stream. Thank you. It's fun. The rigger doesn't do it properly. Circle of animation production, otherwise known as elusive 10th circle of... Yes, absolutely. I've used Blender, really enjoyed it, but got away from it for a while. It'll take time to get it all back again. Yeah, sometimes it does. When you jump out of stuff, especially 3D sort of stuff, and then you jump back into it, it does take a little bit of time to kind of get reused to it. I mean, like for work, I've been using mostly Maya for the last forever, it feels like. And so I haven't been in ZBrush as much as I like to be. Okay, it's time to take it out of symmetry. And so, you know, when I jump onto personal projects or other, you know, other things like this, you know, it's like I have to wake my mind up and be like, okay, you know how to do this. Hold Alt and just gonna try to pull this up and around, make sure that this is fitting her properly. Made me jump. Maya is greater than all. Don't at me. Really looking for a live stream like this one of face likeness sculpts. Yeah, so if you want to look for face likenesses, I'm trying to think who. I know that there are a few people who do realistic stuff. I can't think of anybody who does likenesses though in their streams. Can you guys think of anybody? If you can, go ahead and add that to the chat. And you can tag Victor if you want to. But yeah, I'm not sure. How much would you roughly charge for a model of a fairly simple figure, like a Teletubby kind of figure without too much it depends on who you're doing it for. If you're doing it for, you know, like a friend or for somebody else, I would charge something like $1,000. But if you're doing it for a big company, a lot more. Like if you're charging somebody like Netflix, yeah, Hossein Diva, it seems like he does some streams, and he at least has some YouTube stuff. Oh, a really good series. Let me see if I can find it because it was amazing. Let me see if I can think of what his name was. Sorry, I've got like way too many. There we go. This guy right here. This series is amazing. Okay, I'm going to add this to. Here, let me hit share, copy. I'm going to add this to the chat. This goes through his entire process. Skip ads. I don't want ads. But he starts off from a base model, and I mean, as you can see, I mean, it's a very. He's got his reference and everything, but a very basic model. Okay, not a whole lot to it. It definitely doesn't look like. Yeah, the King of Random has been kind of interesting in the way that they've changed their whole everything lately. It's been kind of disappointing to see the way that the whole channel has evolved and changed into something completely different. Grant was kind of an interesting topic because of like complaints because of explosions that he was doing when he was experimenting and whatever. Like, poor guy. But you know, you do what you do. But yeah, this series is amazing. I totally recommend this series. And then Jonah Hill has some cool stuff. Oh, this one looks pretty cool. I'm not sure who he's sculpting, but he looks like he does a good job. Oh yeah, okay, I know who this guy is. Yeah, look at that. A lot of time going into this one. I'll go ahead and I'll share this one to the chat as well. Yeah, there aren't enough stylized likeness tutorials. I try to go through and all right, all right, all right. Um, I try to go through and kind of have fun with things. I mean, I've got this Kobe Bryant that I did a while back. It'll load. And he was fun. He was fun. But yeah, definitely. Where's my? It's down probably in About Me. ArtStation. It's because I think that I'll get to my Kobe Bryant a little bit more quickly this way. There we go. Yeah, so I mean, very stylized, but you know, still has a little bit of that likeness to it. I didn't actually stream this guy, so I don't think that I have any kind of videos about how he was made. But he was fun. He was fun. Looks like I got a message in there too. All right. Let me see. Okay, let me see. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, so that way I have. Oh, pardon me. Hold on. And we're back. Oh. Yeah, there are some really good sculptors out there who do some good stylized likenesses. I tend to do more character design than like likeness sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean it's still fun, and it's a fun challenge. And like I've got that one, and I've also got the one that I did, I guess, of myself, um, which I use as my avatar pretty much everywhere. I actually want to go through and do a new one. Thank you. So, yeah, I got a pretty good likeness there. Hey, miss.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
I did clean the bedroom. It was a lot.
I bet.
Oh, and guess what? While I was cleaning, I found Birdie Bot jelly beans on the ground. I ate them. They came from my blanket. Unexpected treat.
I guess you need to clean your room more often then, huh?
I do.
When you see end guns. Yeah, it's fun. I really like
Finding jelly beans on the ground.
oh no, I was talking to somebody else, Scarlett. Sorry. um yeah, I really like going through and kind of playing with nerds. I really like going through and playing with those sorts of things with specifically with my own face, because I feel like it's easier for me to make fun of myself. Or you know, to like know ways that I like to be portrayed. um like like, so for instance, one of my buddies from Instagram, he's a well-known artist. I won't bring him up, but he did a um somebody did a, what's it called, like a portrait of him. And oh yeah, I guess I do have more friends that I've done portraits of. I'll have to go through and kind of find them, and they're also on ArtStation. They're on my Speed Sculpt page. I'll show you in a minute another couple of them. Um, but the likeness was like way off on my that this guy had done on my buddy, and he was like, it's flattering, kind of creepy. I'll send you some reference so that you can get it a little more spot on, sort of thing. I don't know that I would have been quite as merciful, if you will, but yeah, this is kind of funny. Jack greater than kids. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Oh, well, this is coming along. Okay, so what I want to do, let's go ahead and kind of pull this up, actually. Gosh, now I feel bad, Sean. It was funny, she was talking about cleaning her room and everything, which is great. Usually we have to get on her case and get on their case and have them to have them help clean. And my daughter's a lot better about helping than my son usually is. But she was in there and she was just cleaning without being asked, which was nice. And she said that she was making her bed and she found jelly beans. Would have been from movie night the other night. She's like, an unexpected treat. It's so nice. It's like, that's right. You enjoy those little treats. Okay, that chin feels a little bit wide to me. I'm going to take this and just kind of make it more narrow, more of a... just so that it feels a little bit more feminine. And one of the things that, it's like I'd gone through and she matched up with my drawing really nicely. But now it's a matter of trying to tweak the design so that it fits. Like, especially when I'm doing my own projects, I like to go through and kind of redesign things a little bit as I go so that it gets to be as, oh shoot. So it gets to be as appealing as possible. Yeah. Oh boy. Are you guys working on anything fun? Are you working on anything for yourselves? Oh, that's not what I wanted. RGB, please. Merci. Coucou.
I haven't always been here. I was upstairs for a while. For a long time.
My daughter's trying to make sure she's not going to lose her, doing a rock, yay! My daughter's trying to make sure she doesn't lose her TV privileges at all. Okay, so I'm liking that. One thing I want to... Let me see. One thing I want to check on and be sure of, oops. Is that, there we go, that's a little bit better. Is that it looks good from different angles. It's like if you look at it from different sides, you'll notice different things about how the forms are fitting together, about how the shadows, like you're trying to watch the shadows and the shapes that the shadows are making, the shape that the shadows are making. And I'm trying to make sure that these forms are clean. Let's kind of hit that chin back a little bit. There we go. Kind of like that. So it's like it's losing that hard line down here, but then it's kind of getting a little bit of it back right there. It's kind of nice. Let's see if I were to come in here. Oh, I don't want any RGB on this. Let's go ahead and smooth that out a little bit. That's a little bit too, that's quite a bit too much. That's weird. That's weird. Take it back. Take it back. Undo. Okay. That's a little bit better. Anyway. Let me see. Designing an outfit for my main character from a web series. He's an alien, so I'm trying to come up with a cool retro stylized spacesuit. That's cool. I've abandoned the character project and left her without arms. Been a while now. I get that. Well, there's only the hand part missing out from the long sleeve top. You can import poly paint and substance painter Maya, something like this. Yes. One of the things that, so poly paint's kind of an interesting subject because you can do it, but it gets kind of tricky to do it because you have to have UVs in order to be able to really pull the poly paint in. There are other ways to be able to export so that you can get, in fact, I think it's a vertex color sort of arrangement, but I haven't played with that at all. In fact, let's go ahead and yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember what the export option is for all that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and split these arms. Yeah, let's split them. You know what? Something I need to check real quick. I need to check the the stream calendar just to make sure, because I'm over my 8 to 10 time right now. I'll go for another little few moments. Yeah, so it looks like Brendan is on at 1. So I've got a few hours before Brendan gets on. He's a good one to follow if you're into like video game art, and he does a lot of more realistic type stuff. I think he's working on some sort of troll lately. I haven't tuned into his last couple of streams, but yeah, so he'll be on in a few hours. And then Ian's on tomorrow, and then Shane's on Monday. He's really good with like sculpting things from concepts and things like that. A lot of people really like his streams. He's really, really good. And then Pablo is also that same day on Monday. He's really good as well, and a whole bunch of others, but that's good to know. Yeah. Cool. So what I want to do, I'm going to grab this arm. Let's go ahead and rename it arm right. We'll rename this one arm left, just to make sure that I've got the right one there. I have a folder on my desktop labeled "Totally Not Dead Projects I Will Totally Finish One Day." Do you really have the folder named that? That's such a huge, long folder name. Yeah, definitely Twitch chat for the reference there. Dude, you're on a roll today. Yeah, let me see. Let's go in here. And we'll say mask lasso. We'll just unmask that top part. And we'll say extract. And we'll say accept. And so because this is something that's super, super simple, let's say display properties double. We're going to come in geometry, Z-remesher. I'm going to turn off adapt. Target polygon count down to like 0.5, like something super, super low. Hold Alt, hit Z-remesher. And this should give me like a super, super nice, it's not as low resolution as I'd like. So let's go ahead and kind of make that even lower. Make it down all the way. Hold Alt, hit Z-remesher. And there we go. That's better. Okay. So one of the things that I want to be able to have is, now I'm not doing this in symmetry. This is going to be asymmetrical, but I find it to be important for the sake of making sure that, in fact, let's keep this one. Let's say extrude edge. Oops. Let's say move. To be able to get that nice sharp here, let's go ahead and change this to stitch then, to endpoint. To be able to get the flow so that I can create this nice corner down here at the bottom. Sorry, I'm like losing my train of thought as I'm trying to speak and work at the same time. Not a good thing. The reason why this sort of flow is nice for being able to create this is that now if I were to add just one edge loop here at the bottom, you'll see insert single edge loop. You'll see it's going through and it's adding in a nice, it'll help crease that edge and keep it very more tight. something like this, something like this. Okay, so now we've got that shape in there. Now we're good. Oh, it looks like I have it a little bit twisted. It's okay. Not a big enough deal for me to worry about too much. Okay. Okay, so let's take this and let's rotate it a little bit so that it's more in line. And then we'll just kind of fit it. Okay, I can see that I've got, maybe too many edges going around the top, so I'm just going to get rid of what's there at the top. Delete hidden. Here's a hot topic. Oh boy. I mask my sadness with the laughter of others. A pose versus T pose. T pose is more common, but I prefer A pose as it animated much better and is easier to skin. Really, you think A pose is easier to skin? I only ever see people modeling T pose. So the thing that I understand, that I've seen and done the most, with A pose, it's easier to get simulation, like clothing simulation, but harder to rig. So it'll get rigged in T pose and then set into A pose so that it can have like the clothing simulated on top of it, clothing, hair, etc. Right? That's my understanding. And that's what they do over at Disney. Is you ate a spider? That's my understanding. At Disney, that's what they do, is that they have like the T pose for rigging, because like they don't like to have to like like do the arms at different angles or different considerations to take into account. But let's go ahead and smooth that out some. But the A pose is for like the cloth to be able to simulate and to not have too extreme of a, because like if you have the arms all the way down at the side, then you have like places where the coat arms are going to kind of pinch together and overlap and get kind of weird. If you have it up all the way, then you have too much tension up in the shoulder, and so you get stretching underneath the arm. If you have it down all the way, you have stretching on top of the arm. So it's just different folds that get created because of those sorts of extreme positions. So that's why they do it that way, and different studios are going to do it different ways, kind of depending on the need. Gaming studios will probably do it in A pose, though I can't remember for sure what we did when I was at Warner Brothers, because I mean it's been years now. Gosh. Yeah. But it's fun. Okay, now I'm trying to think if this is proportionately what it is that I want. Let's go ahead and hit it with that color so that it's, oh, interesting. Let's go ahead, MRGB, color, fill object. What color did I have this at? Because I liked the color that it was. Oh, there we go. I think that's all it was. So let's go ahead and let's fill this then. Okay. I was totally joking. I heard something about a spider, and I couldn't hear exactly what it was that they had said, but it was funny. If a human bites a spider, does the spider become a new superhero called Human Spider? Ooh. Man, spider. That's funny. That's funny. Um, Keenan, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could send me a link if you'd like. I don't always get a ton of time to be able to go through people's work, just because there's so much to do. Got the kids new helmets. It's kind of fun. Um, yeah, the helmets are like those kind of BMX style, but they're for kids to ride around on bikes, and this seems like they're a hit. Like the kids like them. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to take this piece and I'm going to say, get my topology brush. And I am going to just kind of draw out some nice topology through here. Boom, boom, boom. Make my heart go boom, boom, boom. Okay, just doing something fairly simple through here. And then let's have another loop kind of come up through here, because I want to have this loop around the back, just for the sake of keeping things fairly clean. Okay, so add that extra loop. Draw that back. Draw this up. That's not what I wanted. Okay, that's better. All right, now we got this. Boom. Right there. And then let's take this, draw it down, take that, get rid of it, and then draw this down. All right. So now we got this piece in there, and we'll be able to kind of extrude out a neck from right here. So that's good. Oh, let's make our draw size down to 1 and then tap. And that way we have this nice piece that's that doesn't have any thickness to it. Let me see, split, unmasked. Okay, I'm just gonna pull this down. And we'll put it above the blouse. Let's grab this extract and we'll just bring it all the way down to the bottom at first. Put it beneath the blouse. Let's grab these other shirt pieces. I mean these skirt pieces that we're not going to use. Okay. That way we have just the one skirt. We'll go ahead and take this. We'll turn on dynamics so that way we can have, let's turn off the smooth. Let's add some thickness. That'll work. And let's go ahead and turn the thickness, instead of being like, it's offset in both directions, I'm going to take this offset, I'm going to turn it to -100. That way it only goes in and it doesn't come out, but it still gives me the thickness I need. What is this piece that I'm looking at right here? It's interesting that that's kind of sticking out as much as it is now. Okay, so I guess what we'll do then is we'll just take this piece and we will just paint it. We need to paint it the same color as the tights down here, just so that it feels like it's fitting. The rest of this doesn't matter a whole lot because we don't see it. Here, I'm just going to kind of give that more of that skin tone color that we have from before. When do I see? Okay, that's the shirt piece that we just made. Okay. Okay, now I'm caught up. Now I'm on the same page. Now we're good. And let's check it out. Let's go through and do something like that so that it's a little bit more evenly spaced. Just a little bit. That's better. Okay, do something like this. We'll say inset, polygroup island, boom, like that. And then we'll say, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, I'm going to grab this. Deformation, polish by groups, boom. Center that, grow it out some, invert, and then we'll just kind of smooth the points around it so that we get a little bit better of a transition. Okay, let's grab that again, and then control, hold, and drag that out. So now we got this nice transition here. I've sculpted an object with surface noise. I want that object to export with bump map. Can you please help me on this? I won't dive into this right now because that's more of a complicated sort of subject. But I do have a course that I use to be able to talk about being able to export those things. If you wanted to be able to find it, you can either find it on my website. You just kind of scroll down, through this course, or you can come over to the Flip Normals page, right here if you wanted. And I talk about being able to export all sorts of different maps. So yeah, exporting basic maps from ZBrush for texturing. So things, it includes like, because I have these scales that I sculpted on the mermaid's tail, and I want to be able to use them as a displacement. But I also go through and talk about the normal maps to be able to export normal maps for the character, to be able to put it into a game engine, things like that as well. So if that's just something that interests you, there is that course. I don't really have a ton of time to be able to dive into that here right now, but I do go into that sort of thing extensively in that course. So feel free to go check that out. Just so that you're aware, the Z plugin that I'm talking about is this multi-map exporter. You have these normal options, export options down here for the normal maps. You can go through and explore some of these things. I haven't gone through and reset this up, so these settings are not the settings that I would recommend. I would need to go through and do some other things and make sure that this is working right. But yeah, so it looks like there are a couple of new options in there as well from the newest version of ZBrush, but I have to check it out. Yeah, I've got. It's like I do a lot of beta testing with the Pixelogic team because of my involvement with the live streams. Um, they like having me on the testing team, so it's kind of fun, having that association with Pixelogic in the development of ZBrush, being able to test it and all of that. And there are always little features that kind of just slip right by me, things that I use regularly, and just maybe I go a while without using it, and then it just kind of comes up, and it's like, oh, it's been rearranged. Oh, this is nice. So usually when they do the beta testing, they'll have two groups for meetings. They'll have like a morning group and an evening group, just so that whenever people have the time to be able to make the meetings and the presentations of new features and being able to teach us how they work and things like that. And purely just by nature of it being a separate meeting, there will be things that are said in one meeting that aren't said in the other, or things that are dived into a little bit more heavily or more smoothly, or just however it goes. So it's kind of funny, but it's really neat. I really enjoy being able to associate with Pixelogic like that. It'll be interesting to see how beta goes now that there's been that acquisition and all of that, and see kind of who runs it. And I suspect it's still going to be like the Pixelogic team side of it. But yeah, it's all speculation at this point. Color fill object. I'm liking this so far. I'm liking it. What do you guys think? I'm gonna grab these sections right here. Oh, I better save. Doing a good job at forgetting to save. You know what? Let's do it like this instead. Let's turn on solo. Let's make sure that's kind of in the center. Kind of in the center, please. I think like the top's going to need to be brought in quite a bit. Quite a bit. But